Slide 1, Course Introduction. Hello, and welcome to the course on managing security risks in third-party components. My name is Your Name, and I will be guiding you through this vitally important topic. The primary objective of this course is to help you learn how to identify, assess, and effectively manage the security risks that come with using third-party components in software development. As Mark Benioff, CEO of Salesforce, once said, "The only constant in the technology industry is change." This axiom is particularly relevant when we consider the widespread use of third-party components in modern software development. These components can range from open-source libraries to proprietary software modules, and while they can significantly accelerate development time, they also bring along their own set of vulnerabilities and security risks. So why is it critical to manage these security risks? The answer lies in the expansive and interconnected nature of today's software environments. A single vulnerable third-party component can potentially expose your entire application to severe security threats, potentially leading to data breaches, financial loss, and damage to your organization's reputation. Throughout this course, we'll explore various strategies and best practices for managing these risks, from initial identification and risk assessment to implementation and monitoring. By the end of this course, you will be better equipped to safeguard your software projects against the inherent vulnerabilities of third-party components. Let's get started on this crucial journey. Thank you for joining, and I look forward to working through these essential topics with you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our module on third-party components, or TPCs. Let's dive right into Slide 2, where we'll discuss the fundamentals of TPCs. Title: Understanding Third-Party Components. First off, let's define what we mean by third-party components. TPCs refer to both open-source software, OSS, and commercial off-the-shelf software that are integrated into our applications. These components are developed by external entities and can be incredibly beneficial in various ways. So why are TPCs important? Integrating these components into your software can significantly accelerate your time to market and help reduce overall costs. Instead of building every single feature from scratch, you can leverage existing, well-tested modules. However, it's crucial to note that these benefits come with certain security risks. Incorporating third-party code means you are also inheriting any vulnerabilities that exist within that code. As Robbie Sinclair wisely stated, "Security is always excessive until it's not enough." This quote underscores the delicate balance between leveraging TPCs for efficiency and safeguarding your application against potential security threats. To engage you all a bit, let's think about this question. What benefits do third-party components bring to software development? Feel free to jot down your thoughts or share them in the chat. In summary, while TPCs offer immense benefits in accelerating development and cutting costs, they also necessitate a vigilant approach to security. Balancing these elements is key to successfully integrating third-party components into your projects. Let's move on to our next slide, where we will detail the risks and mitigation strategies associated with TPCs. Common challenges with TPCs. Hello everyone, welcome to this module on understanding the common challenges associated with using third-party components, or TPCs. We'll begin by examining a real-world example to set the stage. Consider Bob's team. They use various third-party components liberally in their software projects, but because there's no restriction or thorough vetting process, they often find vulnerabilities post-release. This scenario is a common predicament many development teams face. One of the major hurdles is naming and dependencies. Identifying the TPCs you're using can be remarkably difficult due to inconsistent naming conventions. Sometimes, dependencies are hidden so deep within the code that they go unnoticed until they cause a problem. Remember the quote by Ludwig Mies van der Rohe, "The devil is in the details." This couldn't be more accurate when dealing with TPCs. A seemingly minor detail or oversight can lead to significant issues down the line. Now, I'd like to engage with you. What challenges have you faced with third-party components in your projects? Feel free to share your experiences in the comments or discussion section. This will help us all learn from each other and find better ways to navigate these common challenges. Hello everyone, welcome back. Now let's dive into assessing vulnerabilities and specifically their impact on your product. First and foremost, it's critical to understand the key factors that can help you determine if your product is affected by a third-party component (TPC) vulnerability. This means thoroughly examining the components and dependencies within your project to see if the vulnerable code is indeed in use. Next, we have CVE reports. These common vulnerabilities and exposures reports are crucial. Evaluating CVE reports rigorously allows you to ascertain the severity and the specific impact a vulnerability may have on your software. For instance, assessing the exploitability, the potential for data breaches, or service disruptions is all part of this process. Benjamin Franklin wisely said, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." This highlights the importance of vigilance and proactive measures in the realm of software security. The more effort you place on understanding and mitigating vulnerabilities at an early stage, the less likely you are to face costly repercussions later. So let's pose a critical question. How do you determine if a vulnerability in a third-party component affects your product? This question is central to our discussion today and will guide us through evaluating and addressing potential risks effectively. Thank you, and let's move forward with practical steps to assess these vulnerabilities. Welcome back to our course on integrating third-party components into your projects. In this module, we'll focus on the crucial criteria for selecting third-party components, specifically emphasizing security considerations and functional requirements. Let's begin by understanding why security is paramount. When selecting a third-party component, you need to ensure it has been developed with security in mind. This isn't just about preventing vulnerabilities. It's about maintaining the integrity and trustworthiness of your entire application. Additionally, you need to balance the functional requirements with security aspects. It's easy to be swayed by the functionality a component offers, but it is essential to verify that robust security practices are also in place. To illustrate this, consider the choice between using a well-maintained library versus a hobby project with no support. A well-maintained library typically has a larger community, more frequent updates, and better security practices, whereas a hobby project might lack these critical elements and pose a greater risk to your application. Now let's put this into practice. I want you to think about a third-party component you might consider for your current or future projects. What security criteria would you establish to evaluate this component? Take a moment to identify at least 3 security-related criteria. This exercise will help you develop a systematic approach to selecting third-party components that align with both your functional needs and security standards. Great. Let's come back together and discuss some of the criteria you've identified. We'll then combine our insights and compile a comprehensive list of best practices to ensure that you make informed decisions when integrating third-party components. Welcome to Slide 6, Maintaining Third-Party Components. In this section, we'll delve into the strategies essential for effective TPC, or third-party component maintenance. Title: Strategies for TPC Maintenance. The goal of maintaining third-party components isn't just to ensure that they work correctly in your system, but also to secure and optimize their performance over time. Lifecycle management: establishing a TPC management lifecycle. Start with establishing a clear lifecycle management process for third-party components. This involves planning the introduction, maintenance, and eventual decommissioning of these components systematically. By doing so, you can avoid unexpected disruptions and manage updates or transitions smoothly. Proactive monitoring: regularly monitoring for vulnerabilities and updates. Proactive monitoring is equally crucial. This means continually scanning for vulnerabilities and keeping an eye out for updates. Ensure you have automated tools in place to alert you about new security patches or updates. Regularly scheduled monitoring can help preemptively address issues before they escalate into significant problems. There's a relevant quote by Winston Churchill that resonates here. To improve is to change. To be perfect is to change often. What Churchill is emphasizing is the importance of continuous improvement and adaptability. In the context of third-party components, constant vigilance and upgrading are key to maintaining system integrity and performance. Question: What strategies can you implement to maintain third-party components effectively? As we wrap up this slide, I want to leave you with a question. What strategies can you implement to maintain third-party components effectively? Consider lifecycle management, proactive monitoring, and adopting tools that facilitate these strategies as part of your answer. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this session, we'll be diving into Slide 7, which focuses on the TPC management lifecycle. TPC stands for Threat, Protection, and Compliance. This lifecycle is crucial in maintaining the security and integrity of your software development process. Let's break down the key components of the TPC management lifecycle. It consists of 4 primary phases. 1. Maintain. This phase is all about keeping your security measures up to date. Regular updates and patches are vital to address vulnerabilities and ensure your protections are current. 2. Assess. The assessment phase involves evaluating your system for potential threats and vulnerabilities. Regular audits and risk assessments help you understand where your system stands and what you'll need to improve. 3. Mitigate. Once you have identified the risks, the mitigation phase focuses on implementing strategies and solutions to reduce these risks and protect your system from potential threats. 4. Monitor. Continuous monitoring is essential to detect any anomalies or security breaches in real time, allowing for swift action to prevent damage. Now, how do we integrate TPC management into the software development lifecycle, SDLC? By embedding these phases, maintain, assess, mitigate, and monitor, into each stage of your SDLC, you create a seamless and ongoing security process. This means considering TPC management during planning, designing, coding, testing, deployment, and maintenance stages to ensure comprehensive protection. Remember the wise words of Benjamin Franklin, "By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail." This quote underscores the importance of proactive and continuous management of security, threats, and compliance to avoid potential failures. So the question I leave you with is, how can you integrate TPC management into your current SDLC to enhance your software's security and compliance? Reflect on this and jot down some thoughts for us to discuss later in the session. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Let's focus on a critical aspect of managing third-party components, or TPCs, within your projects. Slide 8, Keeping Track of TPCs. Maintaining a comprehensive and up-to-date list of all TPCs you use is essential for various reasons, including security, compliance, and even project stability. First, let's discuss the Bill of Materials, BOM. This is essentially a detailed list that outlines all the TPCs integrated into your project. Creating and maintaining a BOM ensures you have a clear and accurate record of every third-party component you rely on. It's not just about knowing what's there, but being proactive in monitoring and updating those components as necessary. Next, let's look at the tools available for tracking these components. Automated tools can significantly ease the burden of manual tracking and offer precise real-time information about your TPCs. Solutions like Dependabot, SNCC, and WhiteSource can continuously scan your libraries and notify you of any updates or vulnerabilities. These tools not only help keep your list accurate, but also enhance your project's security. As Francis Bacon wisely said, knowledge is power. Having detailed and updated knowledge about the TPCs in your project puts you in a stronger position to manage risks and maintain high standards. Question for you: what tools or methods have you found effective for maintaining an accurate list of third-party components in your projects? Feel free to share your experiences and recommendations in the discussion forum or during our next Q&A. Your insights could be incredibly valuable to others. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Let's delve into a critical aspect of our security considerations: assessing third-party component, or TPC, security risks. Slide 9, Assess security risks. Our primary goal here is to ensure that any third-party components we integrate into our projects meet stringent security criteria. First up, vulnerability assessment. This involves checking for known vulnerabilities. You'll want to scour databases like the National Vulnerability Database, NVD, looking for any documented issues that could be exploited. Assess each vulnerability based on its severity and potential impact on your system. Consider how these vulnerabilities can affect your security posture and what patches or mitigations are available. Next, development practices. When evaluating TPCs, it's crucial to evaluate the security practices of TPC providers. Are they following best-in-class coding practices? Do they frequently update and patch their components? Providers with a good track record of maintaining security and compliance are far less likely to introduce vulnerabilities into your project. A quick example. Imagine you're evaluating a popular web framework as a third-party component. Check its vulnerability history in the NVD or similar databases. If you find frequent updates and an active community addressing issues quickly, that's a positive sign. Conversely, a component with sporadic updates and unaddressed vulnerabilities is a risk to your project. Activity. Now, let's get hands-on. Choose a third-party component you're considering for your project. Perform a comprehensive security risk assessment. Look into its historical vulnerabilities, update frequency, and overall maintenance activity. This will give you a clearer picture of whether this component aligns with your security requirements. Understanding and mitigating risks tied to third-party components is essential for maintaining a secure development environment. Thanks for your attention, and let's move on to the next slide. Welcome back, everyone. On this slide, we are focusing on key strategies to either mitigate or accept risks within your projects or systems. Let's start with mitigation options. When we talk about mitigating risks, we refer to actions like patching vulnerabilities, replacing problematic components, or applying internal fixes. For instance, if you identify a security flaw in a software library, you might choose to patch it by updating to a newer version, or you might decide to replace the library entirely with a more secure alternative. Internal fixes are another avenue where your team develops custom solutions to address the risk. Now, there are times when risk mitigation isn't feasible or cost-effective. This brings us to risk acceptance. Accepting risk means you acknowledge a risk, but decide not to take immediate action. The criteria for accepting a risk usually include considerations like the likelihood of the risk occurring, the potential impact, and the costs or resources required to mitigate it. There's a well-known quote that encapsulates this concept. You can't eliminate risk, but you can mitigate it. This underscores that while risks can seldom be entirely removed, thoughtful mitigation can significantly manage and reduce them. So here's a question to ponder. When is it appropriate to accept the risk associated with a third-party component? Think about factors such as the criticality of the component to your operations, the existence of alternative solutions, and your organization's risk tolerance level. Engage with these concepts, as making informed decisions on risk mitigation versus risk acceptance is crucial for maintaining a balanced and secure environment. Thank you. Let's move on to the next slide, where we will dive into practical examples of these strategies. Slide 11 for TPC changes. Welcome back. Let's delve into the continuous monitoring of third-party components, or TPCs, which is a crucial aspect of maintaining a secure and efficient system architecture. Firstly, we'll touch on vulnerability alerts. This involves actively keeping track of new vulnerabilities discovered in the third-party components you're using. These vulnerabilities can expose your system to potential attacks if left unaddressed. It's essential to have a robust alert system or a tool that informs you as soon as any new issues are identified with your TPCs. Next, we have EOL monitoring. This is about keeping an eye on the end-of-life status of your third-party components. When a component reaches its end of life, the vendor will stop providing updates and support. This can leave your system vulnerable to new threats because any new vulnerabilities found after the EOL will not be patched. Therefore, monitoring these dates and planning for timely upgrades or replacements is critical. As Heraclitus once said, "The only constant in life is change." This quote perfectly encapsulates the dynamic nature of software development. Staying up to date with the latest changes ensures that your systems remain secure and functional over time. Now, let's engage a bit. How do you stay informed about changes and vulnerabilities in third-party components? Feel free to share your strategies in the discussion area. Understanding and implementing these monitoring strategies will greatly enhance the security and efficiency of your projects. Let's move forward with this mindset of continuous vigilance and adaptation. Thank you, and let's continue to our next section where we will delve into practical tools and techniques for effective TPC management. Slide 12, responding to new vulnerabilities. Welcome back, everyone. Now let's talk about an essential aspect of cybersecurity, responding to new vulnerabilities. Title, Effective Vulnerability Response. When dealing with vulnerabilities, it's crucial to act swiftly and strategically. Let's break this down. Immediate action. First, immediate action. When a new vulnerability is discovered, especially if it's in a third-party component, TPC, the first 24 or 48 hours can be critical. Here are the steps you should take. 1. Acknowledge the vulnerability. Ensure that you have a system in place to capture and acknowledge new vulnerabilities as they arise. 2. Assess the impact. Quickly determine the potential impact on your systems and data. Is it a high-risk issue that could lead to significant disruption? 3. Isolate and mitigate. If necessary, isolate the affected components and apply any temporary fixes or mitigations that can prevent exploitation until a permanent solution is implemented. Long-term strategies. Next, long-term strategies. It's not just about putting out fires. We need a sustainable approach. 1. Develop a continuous vulnerability management process. This involves regular scanning, assessment, and prioritization of vulnerabilities. Establish clear roles and responsibilities for team members and ensure that they are trained and equipped to handle vulnerabilities effectively. 2. Regular updates and patching. Ensure that your third-party components and software are regularly updated. Develop a schedule for regular reviews and patches. 3. Collaboration with vendors. Build strong communication channels with your vendors to stay informed about potential vulnerabilities and their fixes. Example: let's look at a quick response plan for critical vulnerabilities in TPCs. Notification: when a critical vulnerability is found, notify your security team immediately. Assessment: conduct a rapid risk assessment to understand the potential damage. Immediate mitigation: apply any available patches or disable affected components temporarily. Detailed investigation: perform a deeper analysis to understand the root cause and prevent future occurrences. Activity: now it's your turn. Create a response plan for a new vulnerability discovered in a third-party component. Consider the steps we've discussed. How will you acknowledge and assess the vulnerability? What immediate actions will you take to mitigate risk? What long-term strategies will you employ to ensure continuous management? Take a few minutes to draft your response plan. Remember, a well-thought-out plan could be the difference between a minor hiccup and a major security breach. Great! Once you have your plans, we'll review a few together. This exercise is key to ensuring that you are ready to handle new vulnerabilities swiftly and effectively. Let's get to work. Let's dive into a practical example with Bob's TPC management case study under the title, Learning from Bob's Experience. Initially, Bob's team faced several challenges with TPC management. They struggled to maintain consistency, efficiency, and overall control, which significantly hampered their progress and deliverables. To turn things around, Bob and his team implemented a robust TPC management process. They carefully designed a structured plan, incorporated best practices, and remained agile to adapt to any hurdles encountered along the way. As a result, they witnessed marked improvements in their performance and project outcomes. Reflecting on their journey, Bob's experience resonates well with the wisdom shared by Yoda. The greatest teacher, failure is. Now, it's essential to acknowledge that failure often paves the way for the most valuable lessons and improvements. So, here's a question for you. What lessons from Bob's case study can you apply to your own projects? Think about the strategies they used, the adjustments they made, and how you can integrate similar approaches to enhance your TPC management. Take a moment to ponder this, and let's discuss how these insights can be translated into actionable steps for your teams. Slide 14, Future Considerations in TPC Management, Preparing for Future Challenges. As we look ahead, it's essential to recognize that our strategies and practices must evolve to address new challenges and complexities in TPC management. Let's delve into two pivotal aspects that will shape the future of our efforts. Crowdsourcing, leveraging community knowledge. Crowdsourcing is a powerful tool that can significantly enhance our approach to TPC naming and vulnerability information. By involving a diverse and knowledgeable community, we can tap into a wealth of collective intelligence. This leads to more accurate and comprehensive TPC management, as community members contribute insights, share experiences, and surface edge cases that might otherwise go unnoticed. Continuous improvement, regularly updating TPC management practices. The landscape of technology and cybersecurity is continuously changing. Hence, it's vital to keep our TPC, third-party component, management practices up to date. This involves regularly reviewing and refining our strategies to ensure they align with the latest industry standards and emerging threats. Embracing a mindset of continuous improvement will ensure we remain resilient and effective in our management efforts. Quote, as Malcolm X wisely said, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." This emphasizes the importance of proactive preparation and adaptability in facing future challenges. Question. So here's a question to ponder. How can you involve the community in improving your TPC management process? Consider forming user groups, creating open forums, or leveraging platforms for collaborative problem solving. Engaging the community not only enriches your approach, but also builds a more robust and resilient framework for TPC management. By implementing these forward-thinking strategies, you can ensure that your TPC management practices are not just reactive, but also proactive and future-ready. Wrapping up and moving forward. Thank you for following along as we explored the crucial aspects of managing third-party component TPC security risks. To wrap up, let's quickly recap. Firstly, we've established the importance of managing these risks, emphasizing that third-party components are integral to modern software development, yet they come with their own sets of vulnerabilities. Neglecting these risks can lead to serious security breaches, which is why an effective TPC management process is essential. So what are the next steps moving forward? The key is to implement a well-defined TPC management lifecycle. This includes steps like identification and documentation. Ensure all third-party components are cataloged and their sources verified. Risk assessment. Evaluate the potential risks each component might introduce. Mitigation and monitoring. Apply necessary patches, updates, and continuously monitor the components for new vulnerabilities. Remember, this lifecycle is not a one-time task, but a continuous improvement process. Regularly update and refine your strategies to keep pace with evolving threats. As Winston Churchill wisely said, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Embrace this mindset as you work on enhancing your third-party component management processes. Now, I'd like to leave you with a question to ponder. What will be your first step in enhancing third-party component management in your organization? Thank you, and let's keep making our systems safer and more resilient. Welcome to Slide 16, our Q&A session. Here we're opening the floor for questions. We want this to be an interactive discussion where we not only address your questions, but also share our experiences and insights. Let's start with the primary topic at hand, managing security risks in third-party components. We know how integral third-party components have become to modern development practices, but they do come with their own set of challenges, particularly around security. What specific questions do you have related to this aspect? As we go through your questions, I also encourage you to share any experiences you might have had. This is a fantastic opportunity for all of us to learn from each other. Remember, curiosity is the wick in the candle of learning, as William Arthur Ward wisely said. Finally, while we delve into these discussions, I would appreciate your feedback on this course. Your insights are invaluable in helping us improve future offerings. So let's dive in. Who would like to start with a question or share an experience?